All right, we're joined here by Kevin Nash. He's in Brampton, Ontario for the Brawl, the Bush 2 event that's happening Saturday night at the Brantford Civic Centre. And Kevin, how does it feel to be back in Canada?
It's always great. I mean, I grew up in Detroit, so I mean, you know, Canada was right across the river from me, so.
Now, did you get the chance to work the Brantford Civic Centre during your first WWE?
Never. No, they just had stopped using it almost like 2 years before I came into the WWF is when they stopped using it for television, and it was just cheaper. They were cutting back, and they started using like White Plains, Poughkeepsie, and started staying more in New York State.
It was always, it seemed that throughout the 90s, even when WCW had their big period, that for the WWF, even when business would dip in the U.S., Canada was always kind of a good stronghold for the company, you know, no matter where the kind of the business went in the U.S. at the time.
It's always been. I mean, it's, you know, I went, like 2 years ago, I went up to, I know that we crossed the Yukon Trail. I want to think it was called like Penticton or something like that. It was way up in the Yukon, and the town had maybe 9,000 people, and we drew like 4,500 in this building, you know, in the middle of nowhere. And it just amazes me how rabid that the Canadians are with their wrestling.
I've got to imagine shows like this have to be a lot of fun when you're bringing back all of these guys. It's almost kind of like a reunion for a lot of you guys, including Scott Steiner, who you'll be working against.
I mean, it is, and it's great. We had, you know, I got a chance to see Ted at the Hall of Fame, but for, you know, I haven't seen Lanny probably for 7 or 8 months. We were up in Thunder Bay together at a show, so it's always nice because it is a really tight fraternity of guys. You know, it's a special few that are able to put the years in that kind of to get to this echelon, and it's just really a special, you know, to see old friends.
You mentioned WrestleMania there, and heading into the show, there seemed to be a lot of buzz surrounding Kevin Nash. You did the deal with Big Show leaving the Royal Rumble. Was there any serious discussion about you working the card? Because
they were already kind of past it as far as where they were creatively. We had some talks, but at the same time, is it really fair to pull somebody that's, you know, that's been there for 3 or 4 years and it's their first WrestleMania? Is it fair to pull him out and put me in? You know, and so there was some talk about some different things. I'm hoping maybe me and Big Show hook up at SummerSlam.
Were you kind of like, I mean, that weekend of Royal Rumble, it was kind of, the news got out, Kevin Nash appearing at the airport, and it was like this huge buzz that built up all weekend, culminating in that reaction. I mean, that has to be one of those moments in your career that's going to stand out, I assume.
Just the fact that I had dyed my hair, nothing else. No, it was special. When they were putting the boots to me on the corner for the crowd, you know, 20,000 plus to chant Diesel when I had been that character since '96 was, you know, it's just, like I said, I was in TNA for 5 years, and that one 2.5 minute moment surpassed anything that happened with me at TNA. So it's nice to be back with the WWE. It's nice to be back home. And it's nice to be here in Canada.
You would probably know better than anybody, Shawn Michaels. Do you feel we have seen the last match? Because wrestling is such a different animal than traditional sports. I mean, guys can compete much later in life. The money is obviously going to always be kind of that little carrot there. What do you think about Shawn Michaels ever return?
I don't think Shawn will ever return. I just don't see it. I don't see. I think he'll be that one guy that'll just, you know, fade off into the sunset. I know that there's some talks with a couple of us helping the developmental people, you know, and I know that Shawn's interested in helping build basically the nucleus for the next group of guys that make a run. But as far as I think he's blessed that he's, you know, because he had a really bad back injury and was lucky to come back at all from that. I think he feels blessed. He's where he wants to be. He wants to raise his family, and he's so content in life that I don't see him needing any. You know, he's found Christ. He doesn't need it for his ego. He doesn't need it for he's done everything he could possibly do. I think it would be a step back for him.
And my last question is just your thoughts on some of the changes you can anticipate Hunter kind of implementing into the company, whether it be looking at talent that's coming up to the show, and if you foresee a role, would that even be something that interests you, getting into a behind-the-scenes role in some capacity?
Absolutely. I mean, I've spent 25 years of my life involved in professional wrestling, and I've said a lot of times, it defines me more than any one, singular thing in my life is my pro wrestling career. If I could do anything, I think it's, when you get a big talent, a 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" talent, you can't have a guy that's 6 feet train him, because they need to work like a big man. They need to have the psychology of a big man. So I think that's where my niche will be working with the bigger guys.